Welcome back to episode 2 of Copying Carlos, the West Bromwich Albion Football Manager 2023 series. For those who watched the first episode, firstly, thank you very much for doing so. And secondly, you may recall that I didn't show the board objectives, the board goals, the targets you're set at the start of the season by the board, which is an important part of any Football Manager save, whether you're working at Championship level or Premier League level like we're trying to do, or you're starting off in the 10th tier of the football pyramid in non-league. As I said, it's always important, and if you don't really go off and work with your board objectives, you probably end up getting the sack, which is obviously something we're trying to avoid. And straight away you can see the main objective we are set by the Albion board, compiled by Ron Gourlay, is to reach the Championship playoffs at a very minimum. You can see that importance bar there is set to its absolute maximum. Which is fair, I think, because you look at Albion's squad at the start of the season, at the very least, if you cast your mind back all the way, so I think it was July, wasn't it? We started earlier due to the World Cup. And I'm personally speaking, I think most Albion fans definitely harboured hopes of mounting a successful playoff charge. Of course, that hasn't materialised, not blaming anyone in particular, Steve Bruce. But yeah, it's definitely something I think we should be looking to achieve, and we should achieve. Obviously, looks like Carlos Corberán looks like he might do that. Equally as important, deemed by the board, is to be competitive in the FA Cup. I'm not quite sure what the exact definition of being competitive is, whether that's winning one match or winning two. I don't really know. I'm recording this episode off the back of a dreadful FA Cup defeat at Bristol City, so we'll definitely be looking to perform better than we did in that match throughout this save. You can see the Carabao Cup isn't deemed as important by the board. And off-field, the main one is to work within the wage budget. Obviously, finances are tight at every Championship club, and it's something we should be looking to maintain and not go overboard. You can also see they'd like us to spend the original transfer budget. Don't particularly understand that one either, to be honest. If you can be successful without spending any money whatsoever, then surely that's a bonus. And to grow the club's reputation, which is something that just comes with winning games and winning promotion. You can have a better reputation in the Premier League than you will do in the Championship. So that's an important part of the save. Always, ball goals and targets. The main takeaway from this really is that we should be reaching the Championship playoffs at the very, very least, or we face the sack. A quick reminder then for those who may not recall how we kicked off things in episode 1, or for those who are tuning into the series for the first time. We did begin the season with a 1-0 win at the Riverside Stadium against Middlesbrough, coming away with all 3 points as opposed to just the draw that we did back in July in real life. John Swift, as he did, though, back then, got the goal for us. It was a first half header, wasn't it? It was a long ball in behind, I think, by Malumbi. And then Swift got his head to it ahead of Zach Steffen in the Borough goal, nodded it past the keeper. Pretty simple goal. We're looking to play some decent stuff, but it was just almost Route 1 type thing, over the top of the defence, and Swift got there first. It was an interesting game. I don't think it was a drab affair. There are plenty of highlights, especially first half. I think we went close a couple of times. Daryl DK could have had a couple of goals. You'll see he didn't enjoy the best of performances with a 6.5 there. Swift coming away with man of the match. Solid performances you can see from Yokuslu and Malumbi, as well as the defence and Alex Palmer in goal. So yeah, we kicked off the season with all 3 points the best way you can, but we've got a big game ahead of us against a name that Albion fans will, I think, hold pretty fondly. So I'm expecting the major headline from today's episode to be our game against Watford, facing off at the Hawthorns for the first time, especially as we come up against former Albion promotion winning boss Slaven Bilic, in charge of Watford. Now, of course, he was next through the revolving door at Vicarage Road to replace Rob Edwards, who took charge of the game against us in real life at a 1-1 draw that night. It was a Monday night, wasn't it, when Sarr scored the halfway line goal, which was pretty crazy. But of course, in this save, we will go up against Slaven himself. I'll always have fond memories of Bilic, a manager that won us promotion, as you tend to do for anyone who can achieve such a feat. However, I know for a fact some do have differing views of him. The way we limped to promotion was concerning, and we were always destined for failure in the Premier League that year. although I do think those above him had to take a larger proportion of blame. Nevertheless, I'm looking forward to going up against him now. Of course, a charismatic figure. An interesting thing I'd like to sort of point out before we do kick off against Watford was they opened the season with a really interesting game against Sheffield United. So you'll see just here, they drew 1-1, but had 2 players sent off. Hamza Chowdhury was sent off, only 5 minutes into what would have been his debut, wouldn't it? And Ray Manaj, can't say I know too much about him. While Sarr scored and also picked up an injury, so that's an interesting one. Hopefully he's unavailable for this match tonight and can't score from the halfway line again. But they'll be without 2 players that started their first match of the season in a draw against Sheffield United, which I think is pretty encouraging. So yeah, let's get into it. So I think the team for this Watford game picks itself, in all honesty. Obviously going to the Riverside Stadium, coming away with 3 points, a really solid performance, and of course that valuable clean sheet means I'm slightly uneasy changing the team, to be honest. I think the only major temptation was to bring in Dara O'Shea for Semi Ajayi. However, because of that clean sheet, and it's a decent achievement coming away from Middlesbrough with one, I'm going to keep Ajayi in there for now, but I've definitely got a view of bringing O'Shea into the fold in the very near future. The only other doubt was Townsend, who suffered a bit of a tight thigh in training, picked it up just a couple of days before the game, However, I think looking at his condition, sharpness is lacking slightly, missing a few days out there. However, I don't think there's going to be any major issues to contend with. However, I have brought Zach Ashworth onto the bench if the worst does happen to Townsend and he is forced to come off. So the only change you can see is Zach Ashworth onto the bench ahead of Kyle Bartley. It was Adam Reach. I'm not going to put him in the squad. Ashworth, got to have a bit of faith in the youth, of course. So you can unfortunately see that Ismaila Sarr is fit to take a place in Watford's starting lineup for this game. I think he was the injury doubt, wasn't he? Of course, they've got 2 players suspended, which you'd like to think will, do no harm to our chances of success. Of course, we want to make full use of home advantage in the team talk there. But yeah, interested to see how Watford line up in terms of shape and formation and whatnot. I can't say I've got a clear idea of what they'll go with. It's a 4-2-3-1. Sarr's the danger man, isn't he? Keenan Davis, of course, up front. And João Pedro is a really good player as well, so I'm sure their forward line will be looking to cause us all sorts of danger. It was a spectacular goal, wasn't it, that Sarr scored back in August on a Monday night. I think this game, on the say, has been played in a Sunday afternoon, I think, so it's a bit of a weird one, yeah. So first highlight, looks like we're playing out from the back, as we tend to do. Palmer into Peters, and Townsend will find Matt Phillips. Yokuslu controlling plays, he's done so well under Corberan, especially. DK out to Wallace. Can Jed Wallace get up against his man? He's done well there, getting towards the byline. DK's in the middle, and he'll look for DK, and you think he might be able to get his head on it there, and Watford will clear it away, but a decent sort of first positive sign there with our first highlight. Furlong now, can he get a ball in towards DK? It's all the way through to the back post, and Townsend will pick it up. His ball in's decent, and it's headed in. This time Daryl DK will get on the end of it and will break the deadlock. It's his first goal. Well, it'd be for the club, wouldn't it? If we're starting the season all over again, it's a bit of a weird one. But nevertheless, great to see Daryl DK get on the end of it. Of course, I think he was the major concern from that Borough game, coming away with a 6.5 rating. You're thinking, well, is this complete forward role, which I mentioned in the first episode, is a tough one to sort of fill, because you sort of undertaking the responsibilities of all different types of a forward. But he's got his head on the end of that one there. A great header, so hopefully we'll see a much improved performance by DK. But first highlight, first goal, can't go wrong with that. It looks like we have had the better of the play as Watford look to get back into the mix here. Kamara's ball in. Townsend will clear it. Had a bit more time there. It's Cathcart getting forward, but Palmer holds on, as he has done ever so well so far this season. Will he look to play it out to Peters again? He's the one ball playing defender we've got, but no, it looks like he'll go long, which is the beauty of having someone like Daryl DK up front. in this team, you can, and of course for Carlos Corberán in real life, you can go long, but Watford could be in here, and what a finish that is. Keenan Davis has just scored an incredible finish, and he's dancing at the Hawthorns. It's not a great sight, to be honest. Villaloni scores what was a brilliant goal. So he receives it on the edge of the area, and questions over Alex Palmer perhaps, but he's taken that brilliantly. It's like a weak-footed lob. What is it with Watford scoring lobbed goals against Albion? It's 1-1, and that hard work I was going on about there, looking like we've started a bit on out of the two teams we've started the brighter, has gone to waste, and we're level pegging again. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting one, and there's a free kick now for Watford. Tom Cleverley's over it. We're disappointed if he beats Palmer from this distance, but you quite never know. It's over the bar as we approach half time. It's been a funny game. I think you can see there's not been too much in terms of clear-cut chances. We've had 10 shots, which I'm happy with. It looks like we've dominated the midfield pretty well as well. But it comes to half time and the score is 1-1. So I do think we are tending to have the better of the play here. Of course, no highlights in the second half. However, a bit of curse of the commentator moment there as we regain possession with a J. Daryl Dike's dropping deep there. He finds Yakuslu, now Swift into a pocket. Is Matt Phillips onside? There he shoots. He scores. Is it onside? I think it is, yeah. Matt Phillips has scored a brilliant goal. Slides on his knees. And that's come from nowhere. Again, we were dominating the play really without creating too many chances. Swift getting in a little pocket there. It's a brilliant effort from Matt Phillips. Could you ask questions of the goalie? Perhaps, but I'm not complaining. We've got that lead. I think it's a deserved one. We're having a look at the offside call now. I thought he could have been off, but looks like a couple of the defenders are playing him onside. It's a good finish though. You've got to take that. I don't think the goalie's got much chance of stopping it. 20 minutes to go. I'm going to be looking at making a few changes now. We've got the lead again. Perhaps I think we've got to look at taking Yakuslu off for protection on his yellow card. So it's a difficult one though. Do we bring on Taylor Gardner-Hickman to play in a role like that? And perhaps make him more of the aggressor, closing defenders down in a ball-winning midfielder role. Ask Malumbi to sit. And then I think Jed Wallace is struggling for fitness slightly. I think he had a few injury problems in pre-season. We'll bring Diangana on for him. Move Phillips across to the left. And we'll also bring... No, I'm going to keep faith in Daryl Dike for now. We'll just drop onto cautious. Might be a good idea. Up the time wasting. Yeah, you can't go wrong with a bit of... we'll call it game management. Yeah, that's for sure. So Thomas Asante has come on for Daryl Dike for a few minutes. Just wanted to give him a bit of a chance. It looks like we're going to hold out for a win. Should do as we hit injury time, and there we are. It's a good win over Watford. We get the better of Slaven Bilic. We've got to give him the Slaven shrug of the shoulders as we shake hands. Not only is this win such a big one because of who it's against, as I mentioned, a likely promotion rival come the end of the season, it also moves us up to third. Of course, we've only played 2 games with 44 matches still to be played. We've seen in real life how quickly things can turn around. It's always nice to be up there early on in the season. And you can see Matt Phillips takes the Man of the Match award. And for those who aren't aware, he has suffered a season-ending injury in real life, and I think that'll be a massive blow to Carlos Corberán and Albion's hopes of promotion this season. I genuinely do. Of course, Matt Phillips has had his critiques over his time at the club, and they're all justified, I'm sure. However, you can't deny that he's come back to life under Corberán and has been one of our star performers in the mini resurgence. So having him ruled out for the season, and it was quite gutting how it happened in the dying embers of a cup game too, which didn't really need to be on the pitch, and it just didn't really feel right. But nevertheless, it's going to be a big blow. How Albion go about replacing him, I'm not sure. I doubt we'll sign anyone to really fill his void. I think a lot of the burden will be left on the shoulders of Grady Diangana and Carlan Grant, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on without Matt Phillips. But in my opinion, his injury could even be season defining. I don't want to be too dramatic, but I really have been impressed with the way he's played under Corberan, filling a really interesting tactical role, coming in from the left but also helping out defensively too. So before returning to Championship action, it's time for everyone's least favourite round of fixtures, the first round of the Carabao Cup, of course. And we have drawn Wigan Athletic. I think in real life we went up against Sheffield United, wasn't it? Yeah. So a fellow Championship club. Won that night. Hopefully we can progress to round 2 and go further than we did in real life. You'll see I've heavily rotated the team. Ethan Ingram's won a call up to the senior squad again. Look at her stats, decent, really decent, equally as good as Ashworth, if not better. Partnered in defence, you'll see Dara O'Shea, Kyle Bartley. Alex Palmer's the only player to keep his place in the team in the same role. You can see Semir J also plays, but he moves into midfield alongside Taylor Gardner-Hickman. Adam Reach starts on the right wing. You can see that wing back and inverted winger combination is shuffled from the left hand side to the right hand side. Grady Diangana starts out wide on the left with Tom Rogic just behind Brandon Thomas Asante. I'm really hoping he makes a good impact, or makes an equal impact to the one he has done in real life. The bench has just got everyone in there who isn't injured really, bar Jason Malumbi, who can come in for. Daryl DK is too injury prone. I can't risk it. We'll play Grant up front if we need. I am, however, going to simulate this match with the quick simulation tool. No one wants to see the Carabao Cup first round. Let's be honest. Let's just hope we get a win. Let's wait and see. You'd expect us to, presuming that we're going to playing a second 11 too. I think we've got the better of them at the Hawthorns, to be honest. Our second team might be as good as Wigan's. Oh, it's got a save, of course. The suspension is killing me. It'd be interesting to see if any of the younger players come out with impressive ratings. Of course, a big night for the fullbacks in Ingram and Townsend, and we should see now. We've won 2-0. What a win that is. Semir J with the first goal, Brandon Thomas Asante with the second, which I said I wanted him to make a good impact, so it's good to see he's matched DK's performance in the last game. Who was man of the match? Not many, massive ratings there, but it looks like we were the better team. Expected goals much higher than Wigan's. Dominated possession. Had the better share of possession. Can't really tell much from those stats, can you really? They had a man sent off. That's the big one. I should have just seen that right there. We were 2-0 up by the time Max Power was sent off. Can't really go wrong with that, I think. So yeah, we're through to the second round of the Carabao Cup. The draw's been kind to us too, as we go up against Fleetwood Town in the second round of the Carabao Cup, or we will do. And they're managed, of course, by former Celtic and Scotland midfielder Scott Brown. It's an interesting step there, going from Scottish football your whole career into management from the very off in England. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how we get on against Fleetwood, but you'd back us to go through there pretty comfortably. I know I decided in the last episode that I won't be negotiating or signing off any transfers, whether those are incomings or outgoings. However, I have let Kevin Castro go just because at the start of the season he was on loan at Burton, wasn't he, in real life, and then went to Notts County. So just that little extra sense of realism. He has gone out on loan because he wasn't available to Corberan. I do want to give a big shout out to my coaching team again. Those who may not recall the previous episode will not have remembered that I brought in where are they? Here we are, the deadly duo, Sammy Lee, Dennis Burkamp, the new arrivals. Clearly they've been putting some good work into these players. 2 wins out of 2 and a win in the Carabao Cup too. I've got to give them all the credit. 2 great coaches of different backgrounds, that's for sure. So we return to Championship action with a trip to Ewood Park to face Blackburn Rovers. I think we've had to revert to the team that served us well in the first 2 league matches. Host of changes. If you're desperate to know the team, you can then look back at how we started against Watford, but it's unchanged from then, which means the likes of Daryl DK come back in. Semir J returns to centre back. Little changes like that, of course. 2 senior fullbacks back in from having played 2 youngsters there. And of course, the danger man for Blackburn will be Ben Brereton Diaz. It looks like they've signed George Hurst on loan from Leicester, who's gone to Sheffield Wednesday in real life. He's a player which is capable in front of goal. It's interesting to see they've actually brought him to the club. And they're going with a back three. Ryan Hedges behind Diaz and Hurst. Of course, no Bradley Dack, no Sam Gallagher. So interesting to see how Blackburn, or interesting to see the threat that Blackburn pose in this game. It's never an easy place to go, Ewood Park. We lost this match in real life, didn't we? So I'm not expecting an easy game here. We could go top with a significant win, but I doubt we'll batter them, to be honest, and gain that positive goal difference. Early highlight here as Phillips looks to progress the ball forwards. Go back to OK in the middle, who then plays into Swift, and Daryl DK's in here, and he's missed a big opportunity. Nice work there. It's exactly what you want from Swift, getting in the hole and finding really dangerous spaces. But Daryl DK's finish was poor, and we've lost the ball. Yukuslu it was who lost out there. Now Hedges for Blackburn could be in behind. He'll pull it back to Morton, and now Travis will shoot off the post. What a start to the game that is. 6 minutes in, we've missed a sitter. Blackburn have hit the post. You look at the expected goals of those two chances, and ours was far greater than the chance of Blackburn, which just hit the post as Furlong will look down the line to Jed Wallace now, who could be in on goal. Can he find DK? He's a bit slow getting into the middle. He'll find him anyway, and the shot's somehow blocked. And Daryl DK will be absolutely gutted not to have scored at least one goal in the opening 12 minutes. And Wallace picks it up again and shoots from range, but it's not one of his greatest efforts. It'll be a corner. We'll take that. Disappointing there. Daryl DK, you'd think, after scoring in that game against Watford as well, he's going to bury at least one of those chances. As Swift's ball in comes out to Malumbi, and Wallace again on the edge will shoot. Comes back to Malumbi. I don't think this is going to lead to anything, as Townsend regains possession, and the highlight ends. Another throw here towards the byline. Furlong looks to get it in the box with one of his traditional long throws. However, it comes to nothing, as it did on so many occasions for Albion. And Pickering will look to break for Blackburn here, getting caught out there. Furlong getting too high up the pitch, and it's slipped towards Hedges, who's put one over for Blackburn. And I tell you what, it's a game of chances this. Both defences are leaking them. And I talk about Daryl DK missing a few sitters. I think Blackburn will be disappointed to see Hedges put that one over the bar. I'm actually going to have a word with DK. Let's ask him to demand more. See if that leads to anything. You never know. These shouts are in the game for a reason. Could help out. I think we've been the stronger team this first half, perhaps edging it. We've had two clear-cut chances. Blackburn have hit the post, mind you, as a header goes past Alex Palmer. And that is very disappointing to see the Albion shot stopper let that one in. Very uncharacteristically of Alex Palmer too. Yeah, he's got to be stopping that. There's no debate. Just as I was saying, I think we've been the stronger team. Ben Brereton Diaz gets there, flicks it on, but that is dreadful goalkeeping. I can't excuse that. And it looks like we'll go 1-0 down at the break, which is disappointing. Maybe not. We've got a highlight here towards the end of the half, which Townsend decides just to throw straight to a Blackburn player, and they'll hit on the counter-attack. That's the risk of having Townsend high up the pitch. They'll play it back to Hyam here. Diaz again, the danger man. It's into the box, away, well by Ajay. Malumbi losing possession there. Was it Wallace? I'm not too sure. Out to Pickering. He's getting forward well from left back to Donis. Can we capitalise there maybe? It's Hurst. I was mentioning him in the build-up. Malumbi dives in. Hurst ball in again. Finds Diaz on the edge of the box now. Morton will shoot, and it's past Alex Palmer, and we're 2-0 down. We've got a mountain to climb back up from, because two soft goals, just as it was at Ewood Park in real life where we lost 2-1. We've conceded two soft goals, one from range, just like it was again in the match in real life. Very disappointing. Alex Palmer, not much you could do about that one, I don't think. It's a good effort, but we will go down 2-0 at the break. I think this team talk is going to be an interesting one, because I don't think we've been that bad. However, we're 2-0 down, so you've got to sort of tell the players to get their acts together, as it does right there. I'll probably go with, I want to see a much better display in the second half, but go with that cautious hands in pockets. So I'm not really getting frustrated with the team and letting all my anger come out. Just let them know that the standards have to improve. Look at the stats and you think, well, we've dominated possession to an extent. We've had the one clear-cut chance, better expected goals, so on and so forth. But we just can't seem to create the way that Blackburn have done, or be as clinical as Blackburn as they go close again there from a set piece. We'll pick up possession though with Ajay into Furlong. Got Wallace ahead of him, who's on a 7.0, so not having a bad game. Nor is Malumbi, who's on the ball now. Okay, and now DK lays it off to Matt Phillips. Can we hit Townsend out wide? No, we're playing to Daryl DK, who was offside. I did think he was, yeah. I mean, he's missed the chance anyway. Could it be a game for Thomas Asante? It's an interesting thought, and I'm going to bring him on, I think. Thomas Asante scored in the Cup. Could he help claw us back from defeat as Swift puts the corner ball in towards DK? It's headed away. Malumbi will pick it up. Can we get a ball into the box whilst we've got bodies forward? It's Furlong again. Ajayi. And now Peters at the back. Back into Ajayi. We'll go all the way back to Palmer, which is frustrating, but we'll try and keep possession and build from there. Townsend, can he send Phillips away there? I thought it's free for a second. Maybe not. Yokuslu will do well to find Townsend. Daryl DK's got to score. He's put it wide. He's got to come off. I can't believe Daryl DK's missed that. That was the one, I couldn't forgive that, after the first two. Thomas Asante's going to come on. I'm just going to play him as an advanced forward as opposed to the complete forward because he's not as well rounded as DK is. I think I'm going to look to get Matt Phillips off as well. He's not having a great game either. Grady Diangana will come on for him. Let's try and stretch the pitch width. We'll leave it like that for now. Maybe knock Townsend back to a supporting wing back instead of a full-blooded overlapping player, because now we've got that width from Diangana and Wallace on both sides, and you can see Daryl DK's having a nightmare of a game. 5.9 it was in the end. He's not had a good game, and I think that rating, from what we've seen in the chances he's missed, is fully deserved. So I've made a few more tactical changes. You can see Tom Roderick is come on, and he'll find, look for Jed Wallace, and the pass is poor. Yeah, we're on an attacking mentality now. We may as well actually go on to very attacking. Semi J's missed the ball. That's so soft again. Has it gone in? No, it's gone wide. Sam Gallagher is now on, but some of these chances we've given away, they're really soft. But look at those. Look at the stats. We've dominated passes in their final third. We've been more progressive on the ball. Much better expected goals, and we just haven't been able to score, which is beyond me. How Daryl DK's got a lot of questions to answer after this game, which we will end up losing 2-0, just like in real life where a defeat was probably undeserved. I'd say we've been unlucky in this one. I've got to have a look at some of these players' stats. How many chances did Daryl DK miss in the end? There he is. Shooting, oh dear me, that's not pretty. He's had 5 attempts and only put 40% of them on target. He's had an awful game. 5.9. I can't believe we've lost that game by such a clear margin. Okay, 2-1, then maybe we've been unlucky, but we couldn't take our chances and gave away a really sloppy goal through Alex Palmer. Again, you see a 6.4 was probably worthy of that, and a decent strike. It's hard to take defeats like that, but there's nothing we can do. We move on. Our first defeat of the season, our first defeat in charge of the club. We've just got to look to bounce back, and thankfully the beauty, as you'll hear many managers say, many championship managers say, the beauty about the league is that you've always got a game within a couple of days. But yeah, I've got to tell Daryl DK's performance was not good enough. I'm sorry, I've got to be honest, you weren't good enough, Daryl, but there's always time to improve. You score a couple in the next game, all is forgiven. And with that loss, episode 2 comes to an end. It's never nice to finish on a defeat. However, we've just got to move on. We've got Cardiff at home in just a couple of days' time. Looking at the table, we'll take 6th after 3 games. It's better than what we had in real life under Steve Bruce, so no need to panic just yet. I just can't believe we missed so many chances in that Blackburn game, and the goals we conceded were appalling. So I've got a few selection issues to think about then. Does Thomas Asante come in? I'm not going to even mention David Button. So Alex Palmer definitely keeps his place regardless of how many mistakes he can make. David Button will not be coming into the team. If you have enjoyed it though, leave a comment, like or subscribe. Anything is welcome. I'm still not over those missed chances, It's disappointing because, as I mentioned, we could have gone top with a win, but now our goal difference is slap bang on 0. Nevertheless, we did beat Watford, got a good win there, and there are promising signs having progressed to round 2 of the Carabao Cup. But no, thank you for watching. and I hope to see you on the next one in episode 3.